Defensive tackle Kaleb Proctor has the talent to be the Packers' next small school draft hit.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Another episode of GUTEY'S GUYS today, this time with Southeast Louisiana defensive tackle Kaleb Proctor. And having it be this late in the draft process allows us to tell you that he reportedly has a 30 visit with the Packers. And so Green Bay is expressing some level of interest. We also learned on Tuesday that Kristen Miller from Georgia had a 30 visit with the Packers. So Green Bay is looking in that day 2, maybe early day 3 range on defensive tackles, which is not surprising. Here's the thing. I don't think Kaleb Proctor is going to be a day 3 defensive tackle. I don't think Kaleb Proctor deserves to be a day 3 defensive tackle. I think he is one of the best defensive tackles in this draft class and has a chance to outperform, at the very least, his school, but certainly his standing among the draft Illuminati as we sit here today in early April. He is a little undersized at a shade under 6'2", 291 pounds. But we're not talking about having a, 265, 270 pound guy. He's not Kalijah Kancey from a size perspective. And he's got pretty good size in terms of arm length, just a little below average in terms of his arm length, 43rd percentile arm length. But here's the thing. He uses his arms spectacularly well. He is not only a violent disengager when it comes to blocking, but also a polished pass rusher. He's got a bevy of moves he can use to get blockers off his body. He's just turning 22 years old. That's the other part of this, is he is still a young, ascending player. If you look at Pro Football Focus does these percentiles based on their grades, he is on the far end of the sliders, like the 999th percentile in everything. Every pass rush category, he is just like the best of the best. 95th percentile speed score, so size adjusted for his, or speed adjusted for his size. 84th percentile burst score, a 9.51 relative athletic score. Now, he did not do agility testing, but you watch the way they use him on games up front, the twists and the stunts and all that stuff. They use him to drop occasionally in some wonky zone blitz looks, and he can do it. He can do it. He played a ton of snaps for 3 years at Southeast Louisiana, which I promise you I will screw up the directionality of that more than once. I think I did the other day on our daily show. He's played 1,500 snaps over the last 3 seasons. That is a boatload of snaps. So conditioning should not be the problem. And if you didn't know he was a defensive tackle, you wouldn't know he was a defensive tackle. He is a proportionately built, thick, solid, muscular guy. He gradually got better according to the Pro Football Focus grades, which is something you love to see. Had an 86.5 grade last year, 75th percentile run defense grade, had 9 sacks and 26 hurries last year. He attacks blockers' chests. He stacks them, extend his hands, control the blockers, and get where he wants to go, not where the blocker wants him to go. He's got really good get off. He gets on blockers, and that's where you can mitigate some of the length. It's not quite Ruben Bain in terms of the way that he does it, and he doesn't quite have the issues with length that Ruben Bain has. Remember, he's just below average. Ruben Bain is like outlier 0th percentile in terms of arm length. But the way that Proctor mitigates that is he brings the fight to the offensive lineman. He consistently disrupts as a pass rusher. And when you have a smaller school guy, what you want is someone who pops off the screen, who is dominant at his level. And Proctor checks that box. He's the level of dominant you want from a lower level player. Now, if there's one knock that I have, he is so dominant as a disruptor, as a penetrator, that he can lose track of the ball sometimes. He just wants to get upfield because he knows he can shoot a gap, or he knows he can take on half a man and win up the field, that he doesn't know where the ball is. And maybe that's just what the defense is asking him to do. Hey, go be way more athletic than 95% of the teams that we play in a given season. That could be the plan, and it'd be a good plan, frankly. He's not just a finesse player, though. He's got violent shock back power. He can be into your chest, knock offensive linemen back, and then maneuver wherever he wants to go. He gives good effort in chase. I would say, on a scale of like 0 to 10, it's not a 10. There are guys in this class, guys like Grayson Halton, who they're tackling guys 15 yards down the field. And he's not quite that. He makes moves that make you audibly utter, involuntarily so. Like you just go, whoa. And he had an arm over into a pass breakup against Murray State where I was just like, holy cow. And you want to see how it stacks up against LSU, right? And I looked at the Pro Football Focus grades and I was like, okay, he doesn't have a great PFF grade. I would like those grades to be audited. What is going on? What is like? I don't understand. He was the best when LSU was on offense. Proctor was the best player on the field. You see it even against LSU with the movement skills. Had a stack on a stunt where he bounced off two blockers and chased down the QB. LSU brought double teams. They brought chip help. And you saw him convert speed to power to push blockers back into the pocket. Had a tackle for loss on a 3rd and 1 on a run stunt. Speaking of agility, where he turns the corner and bang, takes on the running back and gets a TFL. Had another sack in the red zone against LSU. 2 sacks and a TFL against LSU. He was excellent. This is what I wrote in my notes. What am I missing? Why is this not a top 100 player? He's an outstanding athlete who beat the ever-loving crap out of a lower level of competition and then made a slew of slash plays against LSU. He's never going to hold up against the double as a run defender, but he's stout and attacks blockers. He's not a long DT, but he's so explosive and slippery, it doesn't matter. He's violent with his hands, shocking blockers back, and can win with quickness, speed to power, or hand fighting. Plus, he's still not even 22 and has played a ton of football. I understand the questions about the level of comp, but he showed the requisite domination at his level you'd want. And when given the chance to play LSU, not only did LSU regularly double and chip him, when they didn't, Proctor made them pay for it with 2 sacks and a huge TFL in the run game. He is my Ted Hurst for defensive tackles, where if he played at an ACC school, we'd be talking about a no doubt top 50 pick, but he didn't. And so that brings some question into this evaluation. I have still a 2nd round grade on him, but it is a lower 2nd round grade. I will tell you, I have him above Peter Woods, who it seems like is going to go in the 1st round. That's how good I think Kaleb Proctor can be. Now, how does he fit with the Packers? Let's talk about it next. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Financial stress is something a lot of people are carrying right now, and it's not just about the numbers. It can affect your sleep, your relationships, your overall mental health in ways that build up over time. And the reality is, struggling with money doesn't mean you've failed. Sometimes it just means you haven't had the right kind of support. It's something I've thought about, how easy it is to put pressure on yourself financially without really talking about it because it's impolite, we're taught, to talk about money. So who do you have those conversations with? Well, maybe it's your partner. Well, your partner is probably feeling that same stress and burden, trying to figure everything out. Even if you have the chance to do it together, it can feel like a burden. Therapy isn't about financial advice. It's about working through the stress, the anxiety, and the emotions that come with it. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 6 million people served, BetterHelp makes it easier to get matched and start focusing on what you need. When life feels overwhelming, therapy can help. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's better. And don't forget to check out the Everydayer Club for ad-free episodes and access to a group chat with me and other listeners of the show. Tap the link in the show notes or go to lockedonpackers.supercast.com for more. Yesterday on the show, we talked about the Packers being okay with shorter defensive tackles. Kaleb Proctor is 6'1" and change, a shade under 6'2", but he is 291. And so you look at someone like Jerrell Worthy, he was 308 at the combine. He actually cut weight. They wanted him to lean into his penetrating, upfield stuff. And he played listed more like 298 at 6'2". That's right in the same sort of range where Kaleb Proctor is. Now, Kaleb Proctor is a significantly better athlete. He's not as thick as Jerrell Worthy, but maybe that's why he's a significantly better athlete. I think he has the frame where, because he's so lean right now, I think he could add 5 pounds pretty easily and not lose much of what makes him him. I think he could put on 10 pounds. He could get to 300 and not lose much of what makes him him. But I think you also have to just let him be him. And that means letting him get up the field, letting him attack blocks, letting him be a penetrator. And that is something that, from a run defense standpoint, this Jonathan Gannon defense at its best in Philadelphia, they're using slants and run blitzes and different games up front, just because they're not going to bring a lot of blitzes except on third down. And they're not going to play the biggest bodies up front. And so you have to do things to create negatives in the run game. He is a splash run defender, Proctor is. And so from that standpoint, he fits what they want to be here. And I think fits what anyone in any defense wants to be. Because even in an odd front, you want to have a 3 technique that can get up the field. And of course, if you're playing an even front, you want to have a 3 technique that can get up the field. So he's not a nose tackle. That's okay. But he profiles as the kind of guy that I think can be a very, very good pass rushing, disruptive interior defender, not unlike a Javon Hargrave, where it is all about penetration, not unlike Devontae Wyatt, where no, he's not going to eat 2 in duo and keep your linebackers free. But if you're going to run, any sort of run fit where he can just get upfield, or he can shoot a gap, or he's got a one-on-one block to beat, he can do that. He can do that. And he's going to create negatives for you in the passing game. He's going to create pressure. He's going to create hurries. He's going to create sacks. And for the Packers, with the uncertainty around the future of these players, they just need bodies here. Now, remember, Carl Brooks, a potential extension candidate. We'll see about Devontae Wyatt. They have Javon Hargrave under contract for the next 2 seasons, technically, though really just 1 season, and then we'll see. I think Proctor is, whether or not he can be that quite that level of player, but I just see someone like Nick Collins for the Packers, where the fans go, wait, Southeast Louisiana, what, in the second round? And you go, yeah. And he's that good. He really is. I have him as my 60th player right now. I have a 2nd round grade on him. If the Packers take him at 52, it would not be a huge reach. Now, relative to consensus, it would be. Maybe you'd rather get him at 84. I also think that 84 happens to be the sweet spot for your corners in this draft, because I don't think Cisse or Chris Johnson is going to be there at 52. And I don't think, let's say if Avion Terrell falls or someone like that, that's going to be a Packer. D'Angelo Pond's not going to be a Packer. So Davis Igbinosun, maybe. I mean, I like Davis Igbinosun. I don't think the Packers are going to like Davis Igbinosun. So who do you like at 52 if it's not Christian Miller? Could they surprise with someone like Kaleb Proctor? I don't think it would be an insane thing to do. Now, I think eventually, he's in the early hundreds, like 107th, right in there on the consensus board. That would mean he's not going to get to you in the 4th round. So if you like him, you got to take him in the 3rd at least. If they could get a corner at 52, then I think in the 80s is a no-brainer. If they trade back from 52, maybe you can get a corner and a defensive tackle this way. I just think he's the kind of guy from an athletic profile standpoint. They need the juice. They need the future at that position. And yeah, sure, he's a little duplicative of Devontae Wyatt and Karl Brooks and Javon Hargrave, but we don't know if any of those guys are going to be on the team next year. So you can't be worried about duplicative skill sets. You just can't. And if you want a big-bodied run defender, either go sign DJ Reader or do it on day 3. So I think Kaleb Proctor, and ideally in the 4th round, but I just don't think he's going to make it there. Daniel Jeremiah saying, as we record this on a Tuesday, he thinks he could sneak into the top 100, sneak into the day 2 range. That seems more likely to me. It seems more likely that the Packers would have to use the 84th pick on him than that he would make it all the way back around for them at 120. That seems unlikely to me. And I think that he could come in and contribute right away for this team. I really do. Now, is he going to be an early down run stuffer? No, but could he be an early down penetrator where if you're going to run play action, you sure as hell better block him up or he's going to get in your quarterback's face? Yes, because his pass rush ability, the versatility that he has with the moves, from really truly, maybe outside of Javon Hargrave, I think he has a more varied and deeper pass rush bag than Devontae Wyatt right now. Right now. Now, Wyatt has accelerated that bag. We've seen him add some pieces over the years, but he's already got that arm over. He's got that chop rip. He's got, a lot of different things, that speed to power bull rush. It's not just, I can win shooting a gap. No, he can get off blocks. He can stack and shed. And so I just think from a versatility standpoint, sure, he's not the run defender you'd want him to be, but I think he can play on early downs because he can get negative plays and he can absolutely be one of your pass rush guys on 3rd down. And you're protecting Javon Hargrave. You're protecting Karl Brooks if he's going to have to play some nose tackle on early downs from getting tired out with their reps. Javon Hargrave getting up there in age. And then he becomes a core piece for you in 2027 and beyond. This is one of my favorite players in the draft. The Packers brought him in for a visit. It makes a ton of sense relative to value. And I think he could surprise people how he's going to go. Don't be surprised if it is to the Green Bay Packers in the 3rd round. All right, back tomorrow with more Locked On Packers, another GUTEY'S guys, a ton more to come and get to here on Locked On Packers. So subscribe to me on the social media, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. If you're here every day and listening to all of these, and I've gotten a ton of feedback, people are really enjoying these series. I hope we're able to look back on them. The Packers draft a couple of these guys and we can come back to them and enjoy them again. Join the Everydayer Club. Ad-free episodes of Locked On Packers, plus access to the Discord server, our group chat. So come hang out with us over there. LockedOnPackers.supercast.com is the website, or click the link in the show notes for more. Check out Locked On NFL Draft. Make that your second listen. Otherwise, for those of you on video, our Locked On NFL channel, the world's first 24/7 NFL channel, is here for you. We've got a Locked On Squad show coming for you later. We're always here for you to stay Locked On Packers.